Hey everyone, I forgot one thing as I was reviewing my main video to show you the inverse kinematics codes. So here you will see the on animator IK method that is automatically called whenever animations are called. So looks a little bit different than what we had in the class meetings, and I'll show you why here. So basically, if there's no weapon equipped, then we're just going to an idle animation, which I did find a idle animation with the hands down to the side rather than it up in front looking like it's holding an invisible weapon. So I added that, and as you probably saw, and then I am getting a temp variable, or making a temp variable to get the weapon, so I don't have to call this every single time down here. And so I created some transforms on my player here, Eve. So, and actually, I believe, nope, it's not on there. It's actually on the weapons themselves. So, open up the prefab. See, you'll see right hand IK, RH means right hand, LH left hand IK. And then I actually had an issue where the right elbow of my character was like in her torso, so I had to do a hint. And so that is on the rifle. I know it says shotgun. I didn't change the name of it. That was just the name of the profile, or the prefab model that the modeler named it. To me, that looks like a rifle, not an actual shotgun. This is a sawed-off shotgun, and as you can see here, I have the right hand IK, left hand IK, and the hint for the right elbow. But in my code here, I actually have it checking for the left elbow hint as well. But so if there is a transform in on the player controller, which is why I thought it was Eve earlier. So nope, again, it's on, sorry, on the weapons. There we go. So if there is a transform in any of these, it will do the IK that I have set up based off of here. So it's looking to see if there's a transform in the right hand IK variable there, and if so, then it will do the full animation and put the hands where they're supposed to be. And then it will check to see if there's any hints for the right hand, which I did the elbow because of what I said earlier, and does the full animation of where I want the elbow to be. If there's no weapon, then it will do the animation correctly, or put the hands back into the idle position. And the same thing for the left hand. If there is a transform there for the left hand, it will do it all the way 100% to where I told it to be. And if it's not holding a weapon, then it will just take it to the idle. And oh, I just realized I forgot to change that. So oh, that's because I'm running, aren't I? I was in debug mode for some reason. Okay, so I will update that on my GitHub. But so that is actually what that does. And as you can see, I do have the left elbow hint, but because it's checking to see if there is a transform on there, and as you can see, I don't on here. I don't on the other one either. They're both empty because I didn't need to make any adjustments for the left hint. But if I did, then you could put the transform there and it would run those. So that is the IK. Thank you. Have a good day. Hello everyone, this is Angela Robinson here with UAT Game Engine Programming class, Milestone 2, to show you. So several things that we're doing here is inverse kinematics and weapons, pickups, power-ups, inheritance, and a little bit of UI stuff. So let's take a look here and just kind of show you in play mode what's going on. I've still got the top down on the camera. I can move, and the player does move around with it. If you saw my first video, the movement's probably a little bit more smoother. I did switch out my animations to the rifle animation, rifle pack animations than what I had with before, which was the female locomotion pack. So as you can see, standing here in front of me are two weapons. I've got a rifle and I've got a sawed-off shotgun. Let's do this here, and as I pick it up, picks up the weapon, and I've got a target here. I shoot, and it disappears when the health goes down, and it should repop here in about 10. There it goes. Okay, so something I want to show you here with the inverse kinematics, we wanted to see that I've got the hands here, and here's my weapon spawn. If I just move it around and see that the hands move with the gun. Let's go back over here. So now I've got the shotgun with me, and as you notice, the target only went down pretty quick after only about 2 shots with it. It's a little hard to tell with that, but if you see, I've got red and white trailers here. I'm actually shooting off 3 bullets. So, and then, okay. So let's switch out guns. Oh, I'm going to have to restart here to switch. Oh, yeah. And let me restart it. I forgot there was a timer, only 15-second timer on them. So let me show you here. It's at the beginning. So now I'm going to pick up the rifle. And here is the target, by the way, with the health of 100. So I sit there and I shoot the rifle, and it goes down by 10 each with each bullet. It's only shooting 1 bullet. Okay, and so then I'm going to swap weapons. And here, when it respawns, it's that same sawed-off shotgun that I was showing you there. So over here, oh, look at that. Got another rifle here. Okay. So let me start once more here. I have 3 standard pickups. This one is, this green one here is speed. So if you take a look at this here, we're going to be looking here at the speed of the player. So as it goes to 19, goes to 35 if I'm running. Yeah. Also, look at the health there. It took away some health, added some health as well. Here. So I've got a little minus, which I just noticed on that here. And there's a speed. Give me the speed again. Okay. So that is my pickups, and if you've probably noticed here, I've got one pickup respawning and rotating through different kinds of pickups. So, and that's my my little extra thing that I chose to do is the having a pickup with rotating stuff. That is supposed to be rotated a different way. I'll have to look into that. But so let's take a look here. Here's what the power-ups or pickups look like from the front view. Speed, damage health, and adding health. And then the others is empty game objects, but this right here is the one that you saw rotating between the power-ups and the weapons, and the target that has the target automatically spawn. So let's take a look at this code here. So yeah, and also the health, I forgot to point that out. Let me just show you that real quick. With right here, up here is the health in green. So and if you take damage, that I made the damage take 10 off, shows 190 over 200 with a 95%. Now if I add, I have the health adding only 5. I did the difference just so that I could make sure that it was updating correctly. So now I'm at 97.5%. So that shows on the UI. And okay, so let's take a look here. The weapons. So I have, if you look here, I have abstract classes, general, pickups, stats, user interface, and weapons here that I've grouped them together a little bit. So my abstract classes is my character. I touched a little bit on this one. This is the refactor of my player that I did for one of the discussions this week. So this is just an abstract character that can be player, enemy, NPC, that is not an enemy, that you can just inherit from. And right now I've only got the player inheriting from it. And on the player, I actually do have a required component object health, so that it has a health script on there, because we know that our player is going to have that. And then the pickup is also an abstract class. As you can see, I try to do all of the summaries here. So the main thing here is on the pickup, it's got a lifespan. I've got it defaulting for 15 seconds. I have it rotating, should be rotating whenever I'm playing, and whether I want the rotation to be the self rotation on its own axis, or rotating via the world coordinates. So most of the time I am going to probably pick self, and then in the awake I have the destroy on the object on a delay of what is set for the lifespan. On the update is the rotation, which is why you constantly saw it rotated. I have the on trigger enter, so I have the collider on it set as a trigger, and whenever the player enters into that collider, it will pick it up and destroy the object. So normally with methods I would not make if it's only one line, but I'm probably going to refactor this at some point and add more details on the pickup of what to do with certain things. So I left it for here. The and those and that is, like I said, an abstract class. So and then I have the pickups, or the separate pickups actually inheriting from each one of them from it. And so the health pickup adds the amount to heal, and on the amount to heal, it will tells the player to heal uh, if needed, and then the damage pickup actually does the exact opposite, so it's got a damage variable. And then the speed, I've got the amount of speed that we want to increase, not the full speed that you want it to be, it's just how much more you want it to increase, and the time limit for how long you want, since this is a buff pickup, how long you want that buff to last. And then when you pick it up, it actually adds the speed and or sets the speed, and I have a enum called buff type, which I'll see on the player controller there, and the time limit in the player controller. So, and then the weapon has which kind of weapon you want. So I've got it as a game object, not as one of the scripts. So just put the prefab of the weapon that you want into that in the inspector, and then it will this actually disables the weapon script, doesn't actually delete it off of the game object, but disables it so that when you are hitting fire in the game, any weapon that's set for a pickup doesn't actually fire as well. You only want your player's gun to fire. So by disabling this, that's what that does. And then I'm instantiating the weapon on the parent of, or as a child to this object that I put the script on. And then again, it's also got the overriding of the pickup here, so polymorphism a lot here on all the pickups. So I am enabling the weapon script now, and then I'm telling it to equip the weapon onto the player weapon spot transform, and then by calling this, it destroys the actual weapon that pickup that you hit across. So that's that, and then here's the health. So I've got private variables here using the serialized field so that the developers and designers can add that into the inspector. And then I've got properties here of those where the max health is of course what you want the max health for, and then it has a default of 100 for like the first time player. So if they didn't put a 0 on there, it'll be 100. And then I have the current health accessed off of this property called health. It will default to the max health at the very beginning, and if your health ever gets below 0, I'm kind of projecting forward, based off of what I've seen in our modules, that we are going to be doing death. So I just wanted to make sure that if the value gets below 0, it will actually just reset to 0. And otherwise, it will take in whatever you pass to it. So we're setting the max health or the current health on the awake and the enable. So the awake only happens when we first load up the game. Well, the enable, because I was disabling this script on, it's possible that I'll be disabling the scripts on the weapon, or players or NPCs, whatever. I just set it to do the enable in case we enable the script, or disable and enable the script as needed in code. And then I've got the take damage method, which is what the damage pickup calls. It makes sure that the amount that is passed in is a positive amount. So in case somebody actually does put a negative in there, thinking, well, I'm gonna take away this much, that's not how this actually works. It needs to be a positive amount, because I'm actually taking away that amount from that current health here. So I'm just ensuring that it is a positive. And then the heal also is just to be safe. I did the same thing just to make sure that it's a positive number, and then I add that amount to the current health. The max health, as I mentioned here in my notes, not currently using this right now, but if we were to have a leveling system and level our character up, this is what the new max health methods will be. So if I've got 2 methods here that can be overridden, one of them takes in an int variable if you know exactly how much you want to add to, or make the max health be. Now, a lot of games actually do like a percentage of the current max health, which is why I overrode this method to take in a percentage amount. So they would pass in the percent amount in decimal format. Make sure that it's a positive number here, and then it will calculate how much the max health is going to change, and then add that amount to the max health. And then here I am using the method of health percent. I was playing around between either having the method or the property health percent, which I believe I have it commented out up here. Yeah, so I'm currently using this method, but it actually does the calculation of making it show as a percentage, or their current health be a percentage amount in decimal, and then and I had to, because I have both of these variables as an int, I had to actually cast it as a float to be able to do the calculation. So that's that. And now the projectile weapon, which inherits from the regular weapon. So this kind of adds a little bit into some of my extra, because I have 3 different kinds of bullets that's being pushed from the shotgun. I use arrays for the bullets, the different kinds of bullets, and if there are multiple barrels, because my sawed-off shotgun actually has 3 barrels. So I do have the idea, if this ever gets to where it's just you don't shoot them at the same time, it's actually different kinds of bullets for them. You can use that as well, and although I haven't refactored it to use that, this is just simple showing and that I can instantiate more than one bullet at a time here. but essentially the end game would be to have it the mechanic of showing or switching the different kind of bullets that you can use in each gun. Probably have a input variable or check for input to switch out to the next bullet, next kind of bullet. But I've got a counter showing of when it'll be ready. So based off of the tutorial, it talked about shots per minute because a lot of developers understand how many shots per minute that the gun can do. So I calculate how many shots we can do, you know, each minute, and I calculate the time between each fire, each shot, based off of that and the 60 seconds. And in the fixed update, I check to see if we can shoot. So I use two variables, basically. So I am using a timer to decide whether it is time to shoot or not, and if so, then we can pull the trigger if the fire button is pressed. This is also done off of the project settings input, and the pulling trigger is instantiating the bullets. This is done right now, kind of a mirror of index 0 here equals index 0 here, index 1, and so forth. So it kind of like mirrors that, and I just have each bullet in the array instantiated on each barrel. However, if the bullet prefab is only one kind of bullet, but you still want multiple barrels to shoot at the same time, that's what this is for. So you're only checking the first index of the bullet prefab array, but still putting it at each barrel to do each time, sending the damage over and the velocity over, and setting it to the same layer as the player so that it doesn't interact with the player, and resetting the can shoot to false, and resetting the ready to fire timer that I'm checking against in the fixed update to how much time in between each shot should be, and then the actual projectile. So we've got the damage amount here, which is what we get from the projectile weapon when we instantiate it, and the rigid body, which we're adding the force to. And then I also have a lifespan and max distance and a start position that you'll see here. So what this is I looked at the different weapons can shoot different distances. So I have a lifespan of the projectile so that if it hits past that distance, then it will it'll go ahead and destroy the object whether it hits something or not. So rather, instead of it going indefinitely until it hits the default lifespan. So if it just stays within that distance, then it still has the delayed lifespan destroy here at the beginning. The start position is actually where it is instantiated at. So I am using that start position to check the distance of where its current position is versus that start position, and to see if it's farther than the max distance, and if so, then immediately destroying that. And if it collides with anything that has a health script on it, which would be players, targets, or enemies, it does damage to that object. So that's what that does. And okay, so that is the inheritance. I believe I have showed everything here. To be so if you have any questions, please let me know, and hope to see you guys another time. Thank you.